Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Warriors started off having a great season, but unexpectedly they started to have injured players, and this has hampered the team's performance. Warriors executives will need to sign more players, and if they bring in one more star, it could change their status from a good team to a super favorite team. Rumors: Warriors want to return to the dynasty and sign Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Golden State Warriors have lost their last 2 games. They now sit second in the Western Conference, 1 game behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. While it's far too early to panic, there have been some unwanted similarities between Golden State's last 2 losses and how they often struggled to maintain a winning position last season. Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. spent this summer searching for a second star to pair with Stephen Curry. Klay Thompson's decision to join the Dallas Mavericks in free agency put additional pressure on landing another big name. Unfortunately, the front office failed in their pursuit of both Paul George and Lauri Markkanen. According to Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz, the Warriors could still go star hunting at a later date. He cited 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo as the Warriors' ideal target. The Golden State Warriors could attack the trade deadline in a number of ways, either by using Jonathan Kuminga and picks to chase an all-star or simply by finding another guard to offset the loss of DeAnthony Melton to a torn ACL, Swartz wrote. The Warriors made a call about LeBron James last season, so there's no reason to believe they won't pursue a trade for Antetokounmpo now with the Bucks struggling. Pairing Antetokounmpo with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green would have the Warriors in contention for yet another title. Golden State would undoubtedly have to part with all of their tradable assets in any potential move for Giannis. The Milwaukee Bucks wouldn't let him go without a fight. Unfortunately, Swartz's idea of Giannis heading to the Bay Area is likely a non-starter. During a November 6 appearance on ESPN's NBA Today, Bobby Marks revealed that both Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks are committed to working together through the franchise's current struggles. Anytime a team like that is struggling, there's certainly going to be questions about the future of Giannis, Marks said on NBA Today. He is not looking to be moved. Milwaukee is not looking to move him, they're looking to try to figure out what went wrong with this roster to start the season. Giannis will begin a 3-year contract extension next season. That deal is worth $58.4 million. He will be 34 by the time he could potentially hit the free agent market. Therefore, the only way Golden State could acquire the superstar is via trade. The only logical way that Golden State, or any other NBA team, could acquire Giannis is if he forced a trade. A November 10 edition of Mark Stein's The Steinline newsletter provided reporting that backed up that train of thought. It is understood quite clearly in 29 other front offices that Antetokounmpo is only ever going to be made available for trade if he pushes for it, Stein reported via his Steinline newsletter. But a handful of teams out there have certainly begun planning for such an eventuality, and, in some cases, have already let the Bucks know that they will be ready to talk trade if team officials ever reach that point, even if Milwaukee has zero interest in such discussions as we speak. Giannis has spent his entire career in Milwaukee. He's been loyal to the franchise at every turn. Unless the Bucks decide to enter a full-blown rebuild, it's hard to envision him forcing his way out. Of course, things could change if Milwaukee continues to slide into obscurity. However, even if that were to happen, there's no guarantee the Warriors would win the sweepstakes to bring the star to the Bay Area. Back-to-back losses expose potential areas of concern for Warriors. Coming off back-to-back losses for the first time all year, the Warriors have begun to show signs of some potentially backbreaking flaws. While the Warriors have undoubtedly been one of the more pleasant surprises of the 2024 to 2025 NBA season, they're still clearly not talented enough to get away with some of the things other Western Conference heavyweights can. The Warriors' margin for error is smaller than it has been in years past, and that's been on full display during their two most recent losses. The Warriors' revamped bench unit is clearly a strength. And Steph Curry is clearly still Steph Curry, capable of putting his team entirely on his back on any given night. But in order for them to halt their tumble from atop the Western Conference standings and fully maximize their potential, there are some areas of concern that demand attention and addressing. The Warriors, who are home to the single greatest free throw shooter in NBA history, Steph Curry, are somehow dead last in free throw percentage to start the season. Despite Curry shooting a career-best 95.8% from the charity stripe, and Buddy Hield doing his part by canning 89.5% of his looks, the Warriors as a whole are somehow still shooting just 69.5%. The Warriors' lack of success from the free throw line is sort of hard to comprehend. On the one hand, the Warriors' rotation is chock full of guys like Draymond Green, Kevin Looney, and Jonathan Kuminga who cumulatively leave a bit to be desired at the free throw line. On the other hand, those guys have been mainstays in the Warriors' rotation for many years, and it's never been as big of an issue as it currently is. In all likelihood, the Warriors' free throw struggles are more of an early season abnormality, and eventually players' percentages will regress more closely to the mean. If they don't, however, they will continue squandering winnable games. During the Warriors' wins this season, they've shot 71.4% from the line. During their losses, they've shot just 61.1%. Perhaps a less surprising but equally damaging concern for the Warriors is their continued inability to limit turnovers. At the time of this writing, the Warriors currently rank 16th in the league in turnovers, with 14.5 per game. While a middle-of-the-pack turnover rate may be manageable for some, the Warriors do not have the necessary offensive weaponry to get away with giving up offensive possessions. The Warriors have long played a loose and at times erratic brand of basketball. Steph Curry, for all his offensive wizardry, is not immune to bouts of careless turnovers, and the same can be said for Green. With that said, the 5.7 combined turnovers committed by the Warriors' two main ball handlers, Curry and Green, are not insurmountable. If they can scale back ever so slightly, however, it could go a long way in improving the Warriors' overall chances. As previously mentioned, turnovers have long plagued the Warriors. Even during their last championship run in 2022, they averaged 14.8 turnovers per game, good for second-worst rate in the league. However, even as that team was less star-studded than previous iterations of the Warriors' dynasty, it still had more leeway for error than this year's team. The 2024 to 2025 Warriors simply must cut down on their giveaways. Their path toward contention depends upon it. The Warriors have had little struggles playing against top-tier competition this year. Generally speaking, when they've been faced with a challenging opponent, they've risen up and played to the best of their ability. As a result, the Warriors have already taken down the Celtics, the Thunder, the Mavericks, the Rockets, and the Grizzlies, all in the first month of the season. Where the Warriors have struggled, however, has been with lesser competition. 4 of the Warriors' 5 losses during the early season have come from teams more than likely to miss the playoffs. The Clippers are definitely pesky and well-coached, but no one honestly expects them to play much of a factor in the West. There's no excuse for the Warriors to already owe 2 of their losses to a Kawhi Leonard-less Clippers team. The Spurs are capable of beating just about anyone on any given night, just because they're home to a literal alien in Victor Wembanyama. But still, much like the Clippers, the Spurs aren't thought of by many as anything more than a team that would consider themselves lucky to be playing in the play-in tournament come April. Worse even still than the Warriors' losses to the Clippers and Spurs, however, was their most recent loss to the Brooklyn Nets, at home no less. A common theme is beginning to reveal itself for the Warriors during the first month and change of the NBA season. Their margin for error is small. They simply cannot afford to play down to the level of their competition. And if the Warriors do not adjust their mentality, winnable games will continue to slip through their fingers. The Warriors' place amongst the other Western Conference elites will simply not last if they don't clean up some things.